on the Garage Gym Experiment podcast, we have Jesse DeMasi. He is the founder of JD Gym Equipped. They're making some of the most beautiful cable attachments out there. Had the pleasure of meeting him and his girlfriend the last few years at Home GymCon, and just great stuff. And I think everyone who came across their booth was very impressed with their stuff, and it's just something you have to get your hands on before truly appreciating. So Jesse, thanks for being here. Let's just start off with like what got you into the gym equipment space, and maybe just explain the origin of JD Gym Equipped.
Thank you. I appreciate the kind words on our stuff. So I've pretty much always been into working out, always been into metalworking. My grandpa taught me how to TIG weld when I was 6 years old, so that definitely helped. And then along the way, learned some machining, and here we are now.
So what was the very first product? I guess where in your life were you? What was your career at the time you decided to make that very first product?
I was actually working at an asphalt plant at the time, and I started doing Gym Equipped on the side. And just this past year, we were able to, I'm full-time with a part-time employee now.
Okay. What was the very first product you decided to make?
I'm pretty sure the first product was a strange one. It was Icarian side lateral handles. So they were a replacement handle for a pretty rare machine. But they had universal joints on them, so it allowed you to angle your wrist any way you wanted during the movement. We don't sell many of them because not many people have the machine, but it is like a high-end upgrade, I guess.
I mean, did you see, like, once you created that, did you see yourself creating more, or what made you continue to do that?
Yeah, I saw some of the stuff on the market, and I felt like I could make the things better than they were being made. And then I really fell in love with knurling. It's like a very challenging part of machining if you talk to like any machinist, especially when you're working with stainless. So I guess I liked the challenge.
So how many years ago was that, and when, like, what were some of the next products you decided to make?
That was around, I guess, 3 to 4 years ago now. From there, we started doing power blocks for like the next more popular products we came out with. It was during COVID, so everyone had power blocks. Everyone wanted to upgrade them. After that, I really wanted to get into like all the different handles, just like a higher end handle than you'll find on the market. There's not many people making different cable attachments and whatnot out of stainless and knurled.
Gotcha. I mean, I think you have like 30 products on your website now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but can you tell me like what goes into like your decisions to create a new product? Is that like based off customer feedback or something that you're looking to do, or what would that be?
A lot of stuff probably starts as like a custom. We do a bunch of custom work. And then that custom product turns into a product that just kind of remains on the website, whether someone sees it on our Instagram or someone sees it on the customer posting it. And then a lot of times we'll do spin-offs of different products that creates another product. Like, for example, like our top tier handle and our Larry Scott bar. We started making the top tier with the same thicker grip as the Larry Scott. And then I wanted to make it so the Larry Scott could kind of be utilized almost in the angle of the top tier. So if you were to get like the Larry Scott with the additional hook, it basically mimics that top tier's angle of pull. And then some stuff I just come up with myself, whether I see inspiration from other people or older designs.
Cool. Where do you look to get that inspiration?
Anything to do with like old school bodybuilding. A lot of the stuff was kind of geared around bodybuilding. So like I always drew inspiration from like TK Star. I always looked up to him and his designs, whether it be his machines or his handles.
Cool. I'd love to hear kind of like, you mentioned it. It started off as a side project. You worked, I'm guessing you were working full time and then just did this when you could. Could you explain just kind of how you got going as far as like work process, like where did you do the where did you start it at? Where are you now? Just kind of explain the evolution of how you've evolved going from maybe a part-time job to full-time, or just a some sort of explanation of the evolution would be cool.
Got it. Yeah. So I started off, I was using some equipment my grandfather had. I always grew up in manufacturing. He had a skylight business and he had a small machine shop in the skylight business. So I actually started off with a lathe that he gave me that he wasn't using anymore. And then just over time worked up to where now we got a CNC lathe and a CNC mill that we run most days.
Cool. What's
And I
your
mean, I would work, whether it was before work, after work, while I was at the asphalt plants, just trying to keep the wait times down for people.
yeah. How has the wait times evolved over time too, and where are they at today?
So right now it's advertised 5 to 7 weeks on things that aren't in stock. So if you go to our website, you'll see certain things will have like a little orange tag on them that say made to order. And if you go through on each product, it'll actually show which options are in stock as well. So we try to keep like the more popular stuff stocked. And then I really try my best to like have a time advertised, but always beat that time. I'd always rather have a longer time and beat it than have unrealistic time and then be saying sorry for the wait.
Yeah, definitely. What was the worst and longest wait time anybody's ever had to wait?
Had a pretty bad wait time on the mugs, the heavy mugs that we did. Yeah, they turned into a nightmare. Everyone wanted me to do them, and then I actually I had to outsource the CNC lathe work to bore that hole out because ours was a lot deeper than the ones you see on the market. Most of the ones you would see on the market, they would only hold an ounce. Ours hold like I think it was 12 ounces or something. And the machinist I outsourced it to ended up uh, ripping me off and not
Ah,
sending like 3/4 of them out. So at that time, luckily I was in the process of purchasing a CNC lathe, so I was able to fulfill them. But that's why that was the worst wait time and the most apologies I've had to give.
got it. Do you have a most popular product that you sell today?
Probably a wrist roller or a top tier handle.
Okay.
Maybe the cable grips are popular too, but those two, everyone's been loving the wrist roller, especially with our Black Friday sale.
Yeah, those are cool. What about, do you have any product failures or things that you thought would do well and they ended up not selling?
Really,
Okay.
anything that
Yeah.
doesn't sell, I usually take it off the website. But I guess some options that don't really sell well. Actually, I do. One thing we did a multi-bar, we called it, and it didn't do too well. Had a few people ask for like a 3x3 configuration. And I was just set on my 2x2, two by
Mm,
three, and then Dean started doing it with the 3x3, and I think that did better, but I thought it was going to be much bigger than it was.
okay. Got it. Do you have like, there's like a small group of American fabricators, maybe like less than a dozen. Do you have any communication with them?
Yeah, pretty much just Dean. I mean, we talk like almost on a weekly basis, probably. Like if he needs something done, I try to help him out. If I need something done, he'll help me out because we have kind of different machinery in our shop.
Makes sense. So I guess what's one thing or anything that you do that's completely unique to what anybody else does or what anybody else can buy on the market?
I think the unique thing you get when you purchase from us is pretty much everything's house made. So like any of our handles that rotate, we make everything on them down to the bushings. We use like Delrin bushings in most of the items, and it gives it like a super smooth rotation that we're kind of known for. Doesn't require lubrication, and it's serviceable. Like if it ever if the bushings were to wear out, we can just replace them with new bushings. So I think when you buy from us, you get like a very in-house like attention to detail to everything we do. Pretty much
Awesome.
nothing goes out the door if it doesn't touch my hands. I'm pretty much packaging and doing like quality control, final assembly on everything.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. What about, since you started, I'd be curious to hear like have your prices gone up quite a bit? Have they stayed consistent? And then also, I was watching something on with Peter Keller saying how gym equipment, even if made in the USA, prices are most likely going to go up now and then in the future. I'd love to hear your thoughts on, just how the price has changed over the last few years, and if you see changes even with the Made in America stuff, with the tariffs, if tariffs come into play.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried since the beginning to really not raise any of our prices. During COVID, material costs like skyrocketed on the stainless, and I don't know, they didn't really go down. They went down a little bit, but it didn't go back to where it originally was before. So that makes it difficult, but we've been trying to just increase production and automation to offset material increases. So we haven't had to raise our prices in a while. I mean, as the tariff, all our material is made in the U.S. too. So, our raw material, I don't know if it's still going to affect it. I'm sure it will, because I don't know if the billets or anything are imported and then turned into what we buy here. That could affect it if that's the case.
Good to know. Only a few more questions really, but I'd be curious to hear what your day-to-day looks like.
My day-to-day, I come in, try to package up any orders that are in stock, and then I try to make like a list for the day, like a power list from like Andy Priscilla, and I try to get those things done in that day. So I just group things together based on the different custom options, because pretty much everything we sell has a couple options that you could choose how you want that specific item. So it kind of makes things difficult when you're doing mass manufacturing. So I try to group things together based on those options and just get after it, getting as much things as I can done every day.
Makes sense with a list of stuff to do. All right. Okay, before that, where would you like to see your company? You mentioned it's pretty much just you and then one part-time staff. I'd be curious to hear like where would you like to see your company in like 5 years?
I'd like to see it with like a little more automation, maybe a couple more employees, and just more production. Maybe scale. I thought about scaling the line back a little bit. Like you said, I have so many products, and I'm sure if I go through it, I could scale it down a bit. Pick the more popular options. But I wouldn't want to do it too much, because that's kind of what people come to me for. They want to pick the different neural pattern, pick what hook on it, and every other option we offer.
Yeah. You could always have like a list and then just have custom pieces or maybe custom options. I don't know.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. And then lastly, I'd be curious to hear if you have a few people asked when I put a story out that I was interviewing. Do you have any plans for Home Gym Con yet, or just kind of doing the same thing you've done the last few years?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Hope to release like at least one or two items if we can get it. We always try to like release at least one thing there. I got to try to get involved in some events. I didn't get involved in any yet for this year, but I'd like to be involved in something. I know you guys just announced the new event, powerlifting meet.
Powerlifting, yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, straight and to the point interview. Is there anything else you'd want to chat about before we close it?
No, nothing I could think of. I guess just say thank you to everyone for all the support they've given me from the start. Let me make it a reality.
Yeah. Awesome to hear that you started it as a side hustle and you're doing it full time, and you seem to be pretty busy, seem to be doing pretty good, and a lot of people definitely love your stuff. So cool.
Yeah.
And props to you for doing that.
Thank you.
All right, man. Well, thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.